Welcome to ToBeSeen.com. I'm normally the trailer chat guy or on another channel called Spectrum Sanctorum, but I'm Captain Joe Dove, and I'm going to keep my name as such. But this is not why we're here. We are here to talk about a full movie, not just a trailer. So this is why it's a collab with my boy Brandon Liu from Comic Conversation, also on ToBeSeen. And we're here to talk about, if you couldn't figure it out by the giant spelling right underneath my name, Prey, that was on Hulu, which is over here. Brandon, how you doing, buddy?
Like you're doing all right. It sounded like you're going through puberty for a second there.
Every now and then my voice cracks. Yeah, I don't know. I don't drink enough water.
Still a growing boy.
Still a growing boy. That's why I kept this baby face, you know.
Yeah.
I'm 45 years old. No. We got to watch
Prey.
Yeah, we're talking Prey. We got to watch a cinematic event in the comfort of our own home. And this was directed by Dan Trachtenberg. This starred Amber Midthunder, who is Naru, and Dakota Beavers, who is Tabe. This is about, if you didn't know, a big-ass alien that goes and hunts down the best prey, or in that case, like a champion, to be the dominant predator. This was cool. I thought it was an interesting concept to go back in time and go all the way back 300 years to the life of the Americas with the natives that lived in the land that we know as, well, Canada, probably. But what did you think? Just a quick run through of what your thoughts are.
I thought it was very cool. Well, you said that it was a very cool concept. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a concept that we've needed for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily the traveling to the past. Like when I think about sequel movies that I wanted, but did not get, is I wanted to go back to the Predator's horror roots.
Yeah.
Like Predator sequels are very action focused.
Yeah.
And forget about the part where, it's something is stalking in the jungle and, we don't know what it is. We don't know what this monster is.
It was like the jungle came up and took him.
Yeah. It was nice being able to get back to this more horror vibe. Mm-hmm. And kudos to everyone involved in making the movie because, when they revealed the monster, it's hard to get fear back into the audience once we know what the threat is.
Right.
We've known who the predators are for decades now. Mm-hmm. We've known them for decades. So the fact that we could still find like a little bit of horror elements even now is brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a fantastic movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. What do you think was missing in the film?
I'm not sure if anything was missing. I guess it depends on your view of, what you enjoy in a movie. Compared to the original Predator, Prey is not nearly as funny.
Yeah.
When you've got Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse the Body Ventura just flexing their muscles.
And Carl Weathers, Axon Jackson, man. He was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got these guys who are spitting out one-liners, flexing their muscles. You son of a bitch,
Yeah.
There are these iconic moments that make the original Predator movie so memorable. It's something that's still talked about. It's still considered the best Predator movie. It hasn't been topped. Except if you're watching Prey and you're not interested in the explosions, the muscles, the one-liners, I would say Prey is arguably the better of the movies.
Ooh, hot take.
Yeah, you take away the jokes and you focus on this tribe of Comanche warriors and watch them as they go on their quest to protect their land.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, what seems like a simple animal threat becomes a much larger situation.
Yeah, because they thought it was a cat. Yeah.
At first they thought lion, then maybe bear, and then it's neither. It is something that is out of dreams and legends and folklore.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that really captures the imagination.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that was best about us traveling back in time is when we see the Predator's ship kind of, you don't like really get a full
but you see the ambers in the sky.
Yeah,
and it freaks people out. Yeah.
So if we have something like that in, set in the 80s, the 90s, 2010, 2020, we have concepts to wrap that around. We might describe something like that as a UFO. It's like, we saw something glowing in the sky, an unidentified flying object. The concept of the UFO doesn't exist.
Right.
In this period of time. Watching Naru try to wrap her head around what she saw in the sky, she thought she saw a thunderbird.
Yeah.
She's seeing visions of gods in the sky, and we know what it is, but she doesn't know what it is. Right. So we're watching her learn in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that it's really intriguing as an audience member.
I agree.
Yeah, so whether it's missing something, I mean, it's missing something compared to the original, but is it a bad thing that it's missing them? I don't think so.
No.
I really enjoyed the tone, and I think the movie might even be better off for it. What did you think? Was something missing for you? Was there something that you would have liked to see that you just didn't see in Prey?
I enjoyed everything that they had to offer. The one thing I would have liked to see, would be, I don't know, it was just so well done. It was a different take, and I didn't really go into it with too much expectations because the last Predator film they sent out or released was so awful that it was like, well, we can't go much lower than this. Jesus. So, when I saw the premise being a throwback 300 years into, early settlements and the life of Native Americans, I thought that was a cool concept. And that the nice little niches that tied the story with future Predator sequels, I guess you would say, was also a nice little nod, see, we remember. But I think there should be payoffs that are connected to it because there's a success factor in this film that make it, viable a franchise again. So I was super excited about that. And what I did also enjoy was this is a double story. Like some of the best movies, even the original Predator, as you said, they were commandos going in to deal with a situation in, I want to say Costa Rica. I don't know if this was terrorist cell or something like that, or Colombia. I think it was Colombia maybe. But they went in there and, this is going to be an Action Jackson, Arnold Schwarzenegger classic that he's going to go in, kick some ass, shoot stuff, blow up stuff. And then all of a sudden, all these badass dudes just get picked off one by one. And you're like, what is going on? And that's handled a little differently here because you don't have your muscle bound guys. You have, these Native Americans that are in great shape, but they're not huge threats. I feel like, if I was younger, I could probably go toe to toe with half the cast and be all right. You know what I mean? I'd be like, all right, let's go.
I don't know.
Man, give me 5 years ago, I was just a fit young man. But it was a good film, and I think they did a great job with it. And like I said, the two dueling stories that they had, because you have the Frenchmen that are encroaching on the land, and they have to deal with basically invaders to their land on two fronts. You have, your foreign aliens, and then you have your alien that's coming to kill. Both technically coming to kill things. The French were taking all the furs, and Predator was taking all the nicks. So I thought it was interesting, and I feel like they really did a good job of merging the franchise, past and present, with this film.
Completely understandable. I thought it was really cool seeing little nods from the flintlock pistol that we saw in Predator 2 to seeing Tabe's cut chest, which was a throwback to little subtle nod to Billy in the original Predator movie, cutting his chest using himself as bait. It was real nice to connect to the larger franchise without really having to dig deep. I think that's something that also benefits the movie taking place in the past. You look at a franchise like Star Wars, and all these movies are taking place in the future of the like the Skywalker trilogy. And it seems like every movie has to reference something that came out in the original trilogy. And I'm not sure if those movies are better off for it. You know, did we have to have so many Death Stars? Did we have to have Palpatine as the villain? Did we have to have explanation for why Han Solo's name is Han Solo? And all these things that I don't feel like fans actually had questions for. We were getting shoved answers like, hey, remember that original movie? We're part of that original movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like taking place in the past, yeah, you could toss some little Easter eggs here or there, but you don't have to be like, hey, remember me? I'm a Predator movie. I'm look at me. Remember that 80s movie? Wasn't that cool? It's like, here's a reference.
It wasn't overly stuffed in your face.
No, it really just got to be itself, its own story with its own characters and its own atmosphere, and it's the movie was better off for that.
Well, if you haven't noticed, my filter is a little different. That's because I'm in the forest. It may not look like it behind me, but I am. It's the forest filter that we've been afforded on the great channel of 2BC.
You find a way to make me roll my eyes every
it's
episode.
Fun. It's fun. But let me ask you, should this have been a theatrical release? I feel like this could have been the restart of the franchise in a new light. Or do you feel that because Hulu is a lot cheaper and you can get the whole family around the TV, that this was the way to go?
I'll tell you what, for me personally, I enjoyed the Hulu release. Because I don't like going to the theater all the time. I feel like when I go to the movie theater, it has to be like a special event. I think this could have been that event. Don't get me wrong. I think Predator was really, I think Prey was really good. And I absolutely would have watched in the theater. And I think it should have been released in the theater. But as me, someone who's trying to stay home, I benefited from this. I absolutely benefited from this. There's a lot of debate going on, though, whether this would have been successful or not. I think with a lower budget, it's crazy because we're trying to find a budget before we went live and trying to figure out what the budget was, and we still don't have a number on it.
Right.
But when you look at a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once, compare that to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Both movies were successful, but Everything Everywhere All at Once had a much smaller budget than Doctor Strange, and it was able to make back double, triple, quadruple what they've done. You know, like
right.
I think when smaller budgeted films have these great performances, even if it seems like they're the underdog when compared to something like Bullet Train, something that has a ton of money being thrown at it by the studio, I think that they can surprise you. And I think a lot of people feel that it should have been released in theaters.
Yeah.
On the other half of that coin, there's people who are saying that the Predator franchise has been kind of tainted with too many sequels. And this movie doesn't have any recognizable stars. Like, the majority of the cast was genuinely Comanche.
Yeah.
You got like a lot of First Nation actors in there. So you already mentioned Amber Midthunder playing Naru. Dakota Beavers played Tabe, and the list goes on. There were no non-natives in native roles. You know?
Which was great.
It
It was a nice
great.
touch. Yeah.
And everybody got to shine. Everybody had key moments. We got to learn a bit about Comanche culture, and I really felt like, even though there were no recognizable stars, in the same way that Hugh Jackman was a relative unknown and became a star with Wolverine, I think these relative unknown faces and unknown names to mainstream audiences really would have loved the cast, and sometimes it's a good thing not to have recognizable stars. You know, you put in a movie, you put Kevin Hart in the movie. I know that's Kevin Hart. You could call him another name. You could give him the name of the character that he plays in the film, but all I see is Kevin Hart.
Right.
And the same thing with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yes, they're stars, but sometimes I don't want to see someone who's going to take me out of my experience.
Yeah.
I'd rather have somebody I don't know, so I can just be locked in to this original story being told.
Right.
I think the movie could have done well in theaters. And,
I agree.
And it's a shame that they didn't get a chance. But there's two parties that are not unhappy. Me, who didn't want to leave the house in the first place, and Hulu. This was Hulu's #1 original movie release.
Yeah.
You know, this is, and not just Hulu benefited from this. Star, if you don't have the Hulu app, I believe this is also on Star Plus.
In Latin America.
So it's nice to see it succeeding in Latin America. It's nice to see it succeeding in the United States, and I'm sure it succeeded in other countries. But for Hulu here in the U.S., it is the most watched original film that they've had, and that's saying something, because when I don't want to say they're competing with Disney Plus, but you know, especially when Disney
owns
Hulu, but you have, you are still trying to get viewers. Even Disney, they're trying to sell you can get Disney Plus, or you can get the whole Disney Plus package, which comes with Hulu and ESPN. And I think it's important for Disney to have this successful film to draw people into Hulu. So I'm sure Hulu's happy. I know I was happy.
And the Predator was happy.
And the Predator, it's revived interest in a potentially stale franchise, because now people are asking if Prey gets a sequel.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I want Prey to have a sequel. Like, leave it alone. The story was done.
Yeah.
You want to tell a story in another part of the world with set in another time? Great. Go for it.
I mean, a lot of people in the ether, they're like, hey, since you did Comanche, why not have the Predator show up in frugal Japan and have to deal with some Bushido? Like, you could do a Predator franchise like that.
I think it's very possible to do something like that. I'm very interested in seeing all sorts of different ways, because it's not like the Predator stories that we've seen in the movies are the only stories that are told. There's been video games. There's comic books.
A countless lore.
And there's so many ways to tell a Predator story.
Yeah.
I think as long as in its heart, it's a horror film first, and action second.
Yeah.
You can't fail. Like the drama here was real. I found myself caring about these people who I didn't give a damn about.
Right.
I found myself finding villains that weren't, the Predator. I found myself,
Yeah.
laughing at moments that I wasn't expecting. It wasn't a comedy filled with one-liners, but there were some genuine, charming moments.
Yeah. And my
Between
favorite.
Naru and Sari the
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so much going for it, and as long as at its heart, whatever sequels, prequels you want to make, as long as it's a horror story with some genuine heart, you got a winner.
I'm there. And I also love the action sequence, especially this one. Got him!
Naru! Oh yeah!
Look at that.
Oh, got him! Oh.
This was fascinating.
He's like, I got a net for you. Oh, and the tree's done. Ah, man, what a fight! It was so cool. They did such a good job with that Predator. He was agile in that suit. He was throwing down like taking skulls, literally. In this one, they did such a good job with all the action sequences, and it added, believe it or not, something very new to a very old franchise. And it did a great job.
No, there's so many great action scenes, and they did give us something new. Not just with the action scenes with the rest of the cast, but action scenes with a bear. We got to see the Predator wrestle a bear,
which was dope.
Like there's tons of moments. I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad you showed this scene, because I've been going on about how it should be horror first and action second, but let's not pretend like there weren't some great action scenes.
Yeah.
Like it looked amazing.
It did.
And the fight choreography was great. The cinematography was great. There was, I feel like that little bit that we saw might have been the just a small part of it was almost like a one camera follow action scene.
Yeah, it was like a spin around, and
it reminds me of Ip Man, or reminds
Matrix,
me
or
it reminds me of the Daredevil, like these hallway scenes that we get where the camera is just following the action. Oh my goodness, like
such a good job.
It was incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the last thing we're going to get into is Easter eggs.
Okay. You got any favorites?
Of course, the gun, the one that stands out the most. And you had mentioned one where they did like a throw, because Billy in the original Predator pulled out the machete and cut his chest. And then this one, the Frenchman did it to Tabe. But the gun was the original gun that from Predator 2 that the Predators gave as a reward, a trophy to Danny Glover. Right. I love that, because this is gonna be controversial here, but I love Predator 2. I thought it was such a fun movie, because it's based on the story The Concrete Jungle from a Predator book that had come out before the film, which was a follow-up to the Predator that we know anyway. So I was there for it. Is there any other Easter eggs that you caught and enjoyed?
I really enjoyed hearing some of the, it was less one-liners and more, oh my goodness, how do I say? Well, like in the past, we had Jesse the Body Ventura saying, if it bleeds, we could kill it. Mm-hmm. And here we've got Tabe telling Naru, if it bleeds, we can kill it.
Yeah.
Same thing with, there was a moment towards the end where, you have Naru trying to get the Predator to attack, because she set up his own weapon to
get him. Yeah.
Yeah. And she's like begging for him to take the shot, and she's like, do it now. And that's an Arnold line right there. That is Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it's moments like that where they're acknowledging, they're paying homage to the original without, just being too much like, hey, remember us? We remember that movie? Yeah. We get it. We get it. It was nice. It was subtle. It was not overbearing. I really enjoyed these moments.
Yeah. And I just want to drop one fun fact before we go. Originally, there's two. I'm going to do two. Originally, the Predator was supposed to be played by, do you know?
Jean-Claude Van Damme, I believe.
Yes, exactly. Jean-Claude Van Damme. And then they realized, hey, you're too small with all these humongous dudes. And he hated being in that suit. So,
yeah. Well, the original Predator monster, I never know. I don't like saying their race because I always feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong. I believe it's pronounced the Yautja.
Yeah,
that's the actual race of the Predator monsters.
Right.
But it was supposed to look a lot different. And it's so when you take a look at the original Predator concept and you see the costume that Jean-Claude Van Damme had to wear, it makes sense because the Predator that we see now looks so much better than what we were going to get before.
Yep. Agreed.
That said, since you have me here and I'm known for being part of Comic Conversation.
That's right.
There is a Predator graphic novel based on the original script of Predator. And I believe features the original looking monster in the graphic novel.
Oh, cool.
So if you're interested in that, check that out.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think I will.
There's tons of great Predator stuff for everybody to check out to read.
Yeah, definitely. Especially Batman vs. Predator. It was a great comic.
That was a good one.
That was a
great one.
Talk
about that one day.
We should have a lot of fun.
Conversation about that.
Yeah, I think I still have it somewhere. I think I still do. The other fun fact that I was going to drop for Predator was initially the Arnold Schwarzenegger character. He was actually going to be in another film called Superman, but he said, nah, I'm good. And he ended up doing Predator instead. And then Running Man. And Running Man's interesting because the movie that he turned down to do the Predator was Superman, where he was going to play the villain. And the actor that turned down the original Running Man role was Superman, Christopher Reeves. So like all these things, like they fit together in a perfect puzzle. That's cool.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So I thought that was all.
Thank you for giving me that piece of information.
Yeah. So if you're ever on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, you might not have to phone anybody. You're welcome. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this wonderful episode of a review here on To Be Seen. Brandon, thank you so much. Yeah.
Captain Dove, thanks for having me, man.
Hey, man, thanks for being here. This is a lot of fun. It's nice to talk about film. And we're going to have some comic conversations, including one, Transformers meet Star Trek, where Captain Dove can go with Brandon Primus.
Yeah, no, don't change my name.
You don't want to be Brandon.
No, I am just that dude, Brandon Louis.
Brandon Louis.
That is fine.
Brandon Lubitron. It sounds like
no. And say no. Don't put no lube on me, please. But
not
what
like
you
that.
can do, what you can do is you can subscribe to our channel.
Yes,
because it really helps us out. Helps To Be Seen.
Mm-hmm.
You can hit the little alarm, and that way you can stay aware of any new videos that we have.
Which we will be having a
check
few.
Those out. Yeah. Like, comment, share, subscribe, tell people about us, and let us know in the comments what you thought about Prey.
Yeah.
Should it have been in the theaters? Is it the best in the franchise? Just say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
I'm done talking.
I agree.
Joe, you done?
I'm done. Goodbye, everybody.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Do not let the jungle come and eat you.